Welcome to this video comparing the 6-cylinder Jaguar XF to the Mercedes E350. I'm Ian Balfour, Jaguar trainer, and we're going to show you how you can demonstrate Jaguar's advantages to your customers who are shopping this important competitor. In the mid-size luxury segment, the Mercedes E-Class is just under a third of the total sales. That's formidable. The E-Class offers both V6 and V8 engines, plus a hybrid and a diesel. Although many customers will find the 4-cylinder XF to be more than adequate as an entry-level model, Jaguar matches up most directly to the E350 with a V6, to their E550 and E63 AMG with our V8s. Available horsepower on E-Class engines goes all the way from 302 to 516 horsepower. All models are paired with a 7-speed automatic transmission, and except for the E63, offer an all-wheel drive system called 4MATIC. However, for 2014, E63 will come only with all-wheel drive. The E-Class is also available in coupe, cabriolet or convertible, and wagon models, but we'll stick with the sedan models here. A lot of the popularity of the E350 can be summed up with a look at the front end. It's the three-pointed star that means so much to their customers. So much, it seems, they repeated it here. Even the Mercedes website says the style pays homage to the classic ponton Mercedes of the 1950s. Secondly, the 2014 models are due out in the spring of 2013. Automotive News says it's a refresh. Reports are that the exterior has changed a little, but the E350 engine will remain the same. By the way, xenon headlights, they're optional on E350, part of the Premium 2 package, not on this car. On the Jaguar side, the big news for 2013 is that we now offer a broader range of powertrain choices than the E-Class. We have the 4-cylinder turbo, which is not available on the E350, and the supercharged V6 offering added to the powerful supercharged V8 lineup. Our horsepower offerings now start at 240 and go all the way up to 550 horsepower on the XF-RS. And all-wheel drive is now available. More on that later. And we have an awesome design in our coupe-like styling. Comparing a dozen luxury competitors and announcing XF as the exterior style winner, AutoWeek said, "The Jag cuts a lovely silhouette, enough to lure almost every eye its way." Xenon headlamps and LED tail lamps are standard. But here's something more that XF offers: extraordinary wheels and tires that fill the wheel wells for an excellent design touch. The wheels and tires start at 18 inches and go up to 20. On E-Class, the smaller 17-inch wheel is standard, with only 18s and 19s available. By the way, our trunk is larger than that of E-Class by over 1.8 cubic feet, enough for that extra grocery bag. Now let's get down to details. We'll take the new XF 3-liter V6 and match it up against the Mercedes-Benz E350. First, we'll talk about luxury and convenience features. Then we'll hand it over to a professional driver who will take each car through its performance paces. At all times, we'll try to give you insight, awareness, and even word tracks to use with your competitive shopping customers. Here's the E350. One bit of Mercedes marketing you should be aware of: you can have the E350 in either a sport version or a luxury version, but you can't have both sport and luxury. The sport version has a 3-bar grille, sculpted lower body, sport tuning of the chassis, standard 18-inch wheels and tires, and performance-focused interior accents. The luxury version, on the other hand, has a 4-bar grille, flowing lower body, comfort-tuned 17-inch wheels and tires, and a more elegant interior. The model we have here is the Sport. What's the first thing you think about when it comes to the interior of luxury cars? I bet it's leather, but in the E350, something called MB Tex upholstery is standard. They say it's supple and rich, but it's still not leather. That costs the customer an extra $1,620. And take a look at the instrument panel. Obviously not leather. As we'll see, XF has leather on the seats, instrument panel, and door top, and it's standard. Two things you should know about the E350 instrumentation. The Cockpit Management and Data System, COMMAND, controls audio, Bluetooth, and available navigation. The display is up here on the instrument panel, while the controller is here on the console with a knob and buttons. How user-friendly is it? Well, Mercedes supplies a separate DVD to explain it and other features on the car. We found using the voice commands particularly inconvenient. For example, you can't combine commands like navigation, go to address. You have to say navigation, then press the button again to give the next direction. And you can't interrupt the voice. She just won't listen to you. Both of these are doable on XF. Also, the stubby stalk on the other side of the wheel that controls the car's transmission can be confused with the wiper stalks in other cars. It's kind of an unusual way to handle these stalks, and although a traditional, if not old school way to shift the gears on the tree, it may be confusing to have reverse being up instead of down. Aside from those things, the E350 does have a luxurious interior. 14-way power seats with memory are standard. There's wood trim and ambient lighting. An audio system includes a 6-disc DVD CD changer and HD radio, but satellite radio is optional. Bluetooth is included. The E350 has a couple of buttons we'd like to mention. The start-stop button actually comes out if the customer prefers to use the traditional key. Maybe a good feature, but only if you don't lose the button in the meantime. And this ES button on the console, we're assuming it's for economy or sport driving, but frankly, information on the button is nowhere to be found in the printed owner's manual or the DVD. First thing you notice on XF is you're sitting in the lap of luxury. In real leather, and not just the seating surfaces, but the dash and the door tops. It's standard on all XF models, and it's beautiful. As AutoWeek said in its comparison review, the Jag has easily the most attractive interior. And this review included not only the E350, but also the BMW 5 Series and Audi A6 and A7. But here's the icing on the cake. A couple of things that will be sure to surprise and delight your Mercedes shopper. First, the whole handshake the XF gives when you start the car. The gear shift rises to meet your hand, the vents rotate open, ready to comfort, and the touchscreen welcomes you. Not available in any other car, and especially not in the E350 with the transmission stock on the tree. While we're very used to the XF handshake, it can really impress a new customer. Next, ask your customer, have you ever needed to read a phone number or address you wrote down, but couldn't see it in the dark and couldn't find the light switch? We've solved that problem in the XF. You can just reach to where the lights would be and they'll automatically turn on. A simple and exclusive gesture in the XF, and for the driver, resolution of a potential safety issue. XF uses a 7-inch touchscreen to control audio, climate control, telephone, and the available navigation. No huge separate owner's manual for this. It's easy to use and intuitive. One example is the valet mode. Just touch the valet icon and enter a code of your choice. Valet mode isn't even available on E350. The XF exudes luxury and convenience inside. You can see it everywhere in the wood, the leather, the look and feel. The front seats have standard 6-way power and standard heat and memory. Ambient lighting leaves a phosphor blue halo in XF. The standard radio is a 10-speaker premium system. HD radio and satellite radio are available, along with navigation. Bluetooth wireless technology is standard. While we're here inside, I want to mention several features that are standard on XF V6. These include heated front seats, iPod connection, keyless start, and outside, xenon headlights. Why do I mention these specific features? They are all optional in the Premium 2 package on E350. Not standard, but at a cost of $6,450. Don't you think your customers expect these luxury and convenience items to be standard on this level of automobile? To be fair, the E350 package does include navigation and several other items, but still. Now let's see how the performance elements of these cars match up. Here's Wes Hill, a professional driver for over 20 years.
You walk up to the Mercedes, it looks sporty, but when you put your foot on the gas, it just didn't go anywhere. It was substantially slower, several miles an hour slower in the 0-60. It just wasn't inspiring at all. Being a Mercedes, we thought it would do pretty well. We were shocked at how poor it did. In fact, we kept running the test over and over again to see if we could get it to improve, if we were doing something wrong, but in fact, it really is a weak point. Compared to the XF, dynamite brakes, strong, confidence-inspiring, and not nearly as much nosedive. We felt maybe the Mercedes was just heavier as in some of the other tests we've been doing, and in fact, it weighs about the same as the XF, so it's just not a strong point for that car.
And we're going to see how it handles through the slalom. As we roll in, the first thing I notice is tremendous amount of body roll. Actually, a lot of steering effort, very difficult to control. Exit speed about 38 miles an hour. So now let's see how the XF 3-liter does. Remember, these two vehicles are basically the same size and weight. As I start rolling into the cones, the very first thing I notice is the car actually goes where I point it. Much more nimble. As a result, I can carry a lot more speed through here. 42 miles an hour.
The Mercedes is not a driver's car. Again, you walk up to it, it looks like it's going to be a sporty vehicle. You get in it. The biggest problem it had is weight transfer. As you move that vehicle side to side, you felt like you were fighting the steering wheel the whole time. On the flip side, you get in the Jaguar. It's light steering. It actually pointed where you want it to go. Coming through the slalom in the Jag after driving the Mercedes, you just smiled. It was a joy to drive. The Mercedes, on the other hand, was just a lot of work.
For this part of the comparison, we're going to take the Mercedes E350 around a big autocross, more like a little racetrack. What I notice is I'm hard on the acceleration. It has a little less torque than our V6 XF, about 273 pound-feet of torque. As a result, even though it weighs the same as the XF, it really struggles to come off the corners. Straight line acceleration is smooth, but not very quick. In the big high-speed sweepers, long corners, a lot of body roll, a lot of steering effort, a lot of scrubbing of the tires. Again, the car feels much heavier than it is. Heavy brakes in the next series of corners through the chicane. I'm going to throw the weight left to right. We'll see how the platform recovers. The transition isn't very good. You can hear the tires, you can see the steering effort. Now where the car does a little better is these big constant radius turns, very predictable, very easy to point the car where I want to go, but coming off of them, very slow acceleration. Again, for a vehicle that weighs what our vehicle weighs, it just isn't very strong. The next corner is a little high speed. I'm going to throw it in, see how it recovers, and you can just hear the tires complaining. Again, it's not exactly what I would expect from a sports sedan coming out of the corners. As a result, the stability control cuts the power. So now with the XF 3-liter on the big autocross track, coming down the straightaway, when I noticed 332 pound-feet of torque, this car accelerates much, much harder than the Mercedes 350. As I roll into the tight hairpin, a lot less body roll, a lot less steering effort. The steering in this car is wonderful. It actually goes where you intend it to go. Another short straightaway, good acceleration, smooth, steady braking. As I roll into a corner that would represent any on-ramp rolling onto a freeway, I can get to the power a lot sooner. A lot less tire scrubbing. Again, the car is much more stable and stability control doesn't have to intervene. Next series of corners is a quick right-left. Let's see how the vehicle throws its weight from side to side. The Mercedes felt safe, but this vehicle is actually safe and fun. It makes me actually grin. This feels like a true Jaguar car. Long, sweeping right-hander. It allows me to get on the power sooner. I'm rolling onto the straightaway at a much higher rate of speed than the Mercedes. And then we've got a huge brake zone. Heavy on the brakes. Throw it into the chicane. The car is very stable. It's predictable. Around. It just makes you grin as you come through here.
The big takeaway for us as we pulled these two cars out on the test track, again, the Mercedes comes off, your impression is that it's going to be a sporty sedan, but from the moment you get in the car, the bottom seat cushion isn't deep enough, the steering column doesn't adjust enough. It's more difficult to get comfortable in it. As you start rolling the cars, it's sluggish off the line. The brakes don't respond. Turn-in is very slow. It's just not a joy to drive. It's safe, it's stable, but I always say high performance is high safety. If a dog steps out in front of you, the Mercedes isn't going to get around that dog and back into your lane in traffic. And the XF just brings a smile to your face the way it drives. It's comfortable, the seats are supportive, and you can go out and have some fun in your daily commute. Much more of a driver's car.
Thank you, Wes. It's nice to see the 6-cylinder XF has some clear performance advantages over the E350. Before we end, I want to mention another important feature. That's all-wheel drive. Of course, the big news for Jaguar and XF is it is now available. As we mentioned before, the E350 also offers all-wheel drive as an option. Mercedes promotes their system as a confident grip for balanced handling. It's always engaged with a normal 45-55 torque split front to rear. When required, torque is redistributed further to the needed wheel. Jaguar is very explicit about a system design that favors its rear-wheel drive performance. It's not stuck on 45-55, but instead uses rear-wheel drive until torque is needed in the front. For someone concerned about sporty performance in everyday driving, Jaguar XF is the car to have. Now, what about those customers who are shopping the E350? Seems like the most common comment that you get is that their leases are better than ours. The best response? One comes right from Jaguar. You now have a 4-cylinder and a 6-cylinder to match up to their entry-level E350. But it's more than that, and can be summed up in one word: value. I think we've shown that XF V6 is better than the E350 in every category when it comes to performance. Get your customers on the road so they can experience the exhilaration of driving the XF. When it comes to luxury and convenience, the XF excels. Leather seating surfaces, heated front seats, larger wheels and tires, and xenon headlights are all standard on XF and optional on E350. These are features that luxury car buyers expect. And Mercedes doesn't even offer the convenience of touchscreen controls or proximity light sensors. But what's the best way for customers to see the light when it comes to Jaguar? Of course, it's to get them in the XF to experience firsthand the luxury, convenience, and performance of this superior luxury car.